Hello and welcome everyone, it's Shanna. So glad you're here today. Now today we're playing with the die of the month from Spellbinders. It is called Mahalo Sea Turtle. And we are going to make a shaker card with this, and I'm just showing you the packaging, not much to look at. I don't get the all of the details that you get with the regular packaging, but I've got all of my dies here on my magnetic plate, and this is like the lily pad, and we've got the turtle, and we've got a Mahalo sentiment, and we're just going to create a shaker card. I'm going to bring in some paper. It's called Friends Under the Sea from Not Too Shabby, and I will link it in the description box below. I thought it was a fun wave water pattern, and I had some cardstock here from Spellbinders to match, and so I'm just going to bring it in, and we're just going to create a shaker card. I'm going to cut this pattern paper down to an A2 size. Actually, I think I'm doing 4 by 5 1/4. I'm doing that so that we can lay kind of a dark blue behind it and have a little frame around there and a little background for our, what I'm calling a lily pad. I assume that's what it is, but anyway, you can use this die here to die cut it out, or you can use the other piece and die cut out a hole for your shaker, but this is what I chose to do. And you can see we've got very little room on the side, so I'm going to have to strategically use some foam for those sides, because this is a pretty big die for an A2 size card. So I'm going to bring in my lighter colored cardstock, and we're going to cut out our lily pad detail piece. And I've got Cosmic Sky as the dark blue panel laying there, and then I have Breeze, which is the lighter blue that I am die cutting this lily pad out of. And then for our turtle, we're going to use a couple of colors. I've got Waterfall and I've got Teal Topaz, and that's what we're going to use for our sea turtle. So this actually has a notch on it down here at the bottom that protrudes out, and that's an easy way to find to line it up. It kind of, one of them kind of protrudes out a little bit further than the other, and it helps you line up. There's also one that has 3 bubbles that are spaced pretty far apart that you could kind of use it. So just look at it and you'll find a way to easily line up that lily pad. Anyway, so I'm taking the Waterfall cardstock and die cutting out the tops of the sea turtle, and then I'm using the Teal Topaz. Oh, actually, I'm using a darker color for the back. I'm using Blue Spruce for the back of the sea turtle, and I'm just going to cut this down to small panels because I'm going to bring in the scout and use it, and I can't use a full A2 size panel on it, so we'll just grab it, bring it in, and we will do our die cutting. And it'll be pretty quick. This video is only just under 17 minutes, and we've made a shaker card. And I think I've left it in real time. It's at regular speed. I didn't speed it up at all. So I'm just getting my turtle lined up on my Blue Spruce cardstock, and just gonna give it a press. And there we go. So this is gonna be the base layer for our turtle. And we're gonna pop the eye out. There is a couple little dies for the eye that you can add to it. Now there is a small piece that goes behind this piece. I'm telling you that because I did it wrong. I did it wrong 3 times. I made 2 other turtles that I was just playing around with pattern paper, just trying to see what it would look like with pattern paper. But the piece that goes on the shell actually goes behind that base layer and not behind the front detail layer. And I'm telling you that because I learned, because I did it wrong. Like I said, I don't have that instruction sheet that comes on the back of the clubs, because they don't send me the packaging for the clubs. I just get them in little baggies, and then I put them on my magnetic sheets, and I'll print out the front piece that just says, you know, die of the month or whatever, and include it with it. So I'm going to get this detailed piece pulled out, and then we've got the belly piece that is detailed, and it kind of lays on here just like this. I was kind of zoomed in for this, so you can't see everything, but anyway, that lays right on there like that. And then there's another detail piece, and this piece actually goes, I'm going to tuck it it actually goes behind, not here. It actually goes behind this area, and I'm just showing you because I did it wrong. It actually will protrude just above the darker back piece if you put it on there right. But this is how I assembled it for the card, and it is wrong. But I suppose no one would know if I didn't point it out, but I want you to know so that you can assemble it correctly. So there we go. So I think I've got all of my pieces, and now we're just going to get to assembling. You can see I've die cut out. The eye pieces is on a single die, and I think you want white and you want black. So you can either die cut it all out in white and then color the piece that you want black, or you can run 2 passes. That's what I did. I just did a pass with white and a pass with red, and so now I've got 4 little eye pieces there, and I can choose whether I want white on top, black on bottom, or black on top, white on bottom. You can go either way. So I've just got a piece of acetate, and I'm just going to lay it down here on my panel of card pattern paper. And that piece that I had wasn't quite big enough, so I grabbed a larger piece, and I'm just going to cut down. I think I cut down like an A2 size panel. I did 5.5 there, and I'm going to go 4 1/4, and then I'll cut it down more because I'm certainly not going to need that much. But I'm just going to use this acetate here and just kind of cover the area where the lily pad is. There I'm looking and I'm like, oh, you can cut it down more. And I think I'll trim it, and then I'll wind up trimming it even more once we get it laid down on our panel. So we'll get our acetate laid down on there. For acetate, I normally like to use a tape runner just because it doesn't seep and make a mess. So I'll just bring in my tape runner and lay down lots of tape around it, and then we'll get our acetate laid down on here. And so I'm just trying to cover all areas so that we have a good press, and I'll get my acetate laid down on there. And I'll bring in some bits for our shaker part. So just making sure I've got it covered all over, because I don't want it to lift anywhere. And then I'm just going to lay this down on there. I'm not going to try and line it up with the panel. I'm just going to line it up over the area that needs to be covered, and then we'll snip off the extra. I must have went off camera and did that. And now we've got our shaker window. I've got a little hair in there I was trying to pull out. There we go. And so we're going to lay it on our Cosmic Sky cardstock, and we'll bring in our little lily pad area, and we're going to get it laid down on there. I will wind up using glue for this. I think I want to go ahead and, oh, actually, no, I'm going to use the tape runner, I guess. I've got a little piece of transfer paper here, and I'm just laying it down there so I don't get this tape runner all over my glass mat, and just getting plenty of tape laid on there. And anywhere where I've gotten it too far, I'm just going to pull it kind of back onto the cardstock so that the tape is not showing. I learned that from Tim Holtz. I have had problems with the tape runner like that, and he said, you just pull it back on itself, and it'll stick down on itself, and then you won't see it. And I remembered that, and so that's what I do now. So this is the kind of the piece that I go off of here. It kind of sticks out pretty far. And so I use that as my guide to line up the lily pad. And I'll just tuck it down on there, and it's just going to stick to the acetate. And because we've got the cardstock there, it won't show. Now, I didn't put any tape runner on the center area or anything like that. I thought if I got it adhered around the edges, it would be just fine, and I wouldn't have to worry about that. So there we go. We've got our panel. And I'm just going to get my shaker bits. Now, these were in a kit from Love from Lizzie, and I didn't use them all. It's like a blue and a gold and a white mix, and I thought it would look really pretty with the pattern paper that we've chose to use there, and I'm going to lay a good amount of it down on there. And then we'll get our panel laid on there. And I've just got some foam, some fun foam from Walmart that I put on the back of it. I glued it to the paper and then removed the release paper that I could attach to the cardstock. And now we just need to get our little eye laid down on our little Mahalo Sea Turtle. And you can see you've got a larger back piece and a smaller top piece. And I've got it in both white and black laying there. And I'm just going to get it turned over, and it looks like I decided to put the black on the bottom and then the white on the top, and then we'll have a cute little eye. I think you could use it in either direction. I think I saw Tanya Bowser use it in the other direction, but either way works. I think this looks cute. So I'm just getting it laid down on there, and then I'm just testing it so I can get it positioned how I want it. Give it a little press. And then I think I assemble the turtle. I'm not sure if I put it in between there or not. I was thinking about putting it in between there. And then I decide to put it on the back of the teal topaz. I was thinking about pressing it between the two pieces of the body, but I thought, well, it'll work like this. So I'll just use my tweezers and clean up any extra glue. Now here's where I should have laid this behind this piece, in that area, but behind it. But instead I laid it in front of it, and that's going to be our turtle back. And honestly, on the card it doesn't look bad at all. So I'm going to pop out all the little detail pieces out of this. I probably just took one press on it, and I could have done 2 presses and they would have fallen out, but I just did 1 press. So and we'll just get all of our little fins and feet or whatever they are and get them lined up and give it a press. And we have got our Mahalo Sea Turtle ready to go. I've been having some fun with some pattern paper lately. I think it's fun to bring in some pattern paper to create little scenes with. So here's the little underbelly piece, and I'm just going to get it attached. It's just got extra detail just to make it look more interesting. And then I'm going to bring in my blending brush, and it just has whatever ink was left on there from the last time that I blended. I didn't go to an ink pad with it. I've been doing a lot of blue blending, so I figured there was probably some blue ink left on this, and I think it was just enough to add a little bit of interest to the sea turtle and a little bit of shading. And so we'll just get our sea turtle laid down there on our little, I'm calling it a lily pad. And we'll just add glue. Oh, actually, I'm going to pop it up with some little foam squares. It has been, I probably did this video, or this video. I did it a couple of weeks ago and just didn't do the voiceover, and so I'm just getting to the voiceover. So I've got to give the shaker a shake. Now we have this Mahalo sentiment, and this is one of those where it presses the letters into it, and it's kind of hard to get them die cut all the way through. So I'm doing a trick that my friend Daria taught me. You lay another piece of cardstock behind it, and then you get your die laid there, and then you run it through. And what it'll do is it'll push those little letters out into the other layer. It'll actually give you 2 sentiments if you want to use it that way. So you'll have the one that has it die cut out, and then you'll have the background piece that it pressed it into. But Daria taught me this trick, and I'm using it, and it works beautifully. So I did a couple passes just to make sure that we got it, and I used some heavy cardstock underneath there, and I'm going to pull it apart, and you can see it's pressed pretty good because I ran 2 presses through there. And when you pull that out, it leaves the remaining of that Mahalo in the white, and then you've got a good crisp sentiment in your original piece. And then you can layer a darker color underneath there, and it really makes it pop. Now you could use that other sentiment. It's just a lighter Mahalo, but since I'm not going to use it, I'll actually use that piece to back this, and it will just give us a little bit more dimension on our sentiment. And that's what I'll choose to do. So I'm going to get a little bit of glue down here, trying not to get too messy to where it seeps out of my letters, and I'll get it lined up on my cardstock. And if you've got these, and I'm sure you do because Spellbinders has made a lot of these where it just barely presses the letters in there. If you layer that up like that and run it through, you're going to get a much better result with that type of die. So I'm just looking at it, trying to decide, what else it needs, what I want to do with it. And then I decide, let's go ahead and use that because otherwise we'll have that laying in my craft room. And I layered it up, and I'm going to add this sentiment to my card, just giving it a good press. And then I've got some of these gems here that I don't know where these are left over from. I feel like I want to say they're Altenew gems, and they were just the right color for the colors that I chose to work with on this card. And I don't have a lot of them left, so I thought, well, I might as well try and use these up. So I'm going to lay 3 of these kind of in a little triangular pattern up here by our sentiment, just to kind of draw interest to that. And we'll get that pressed down on there. And of course you've got to shake the shaker, and the gold in there really looks pretty, and then you've got the blue, the teal, and all the colors that are in the shaker mix, and it turned out really super fun. So lots of fun uses of this set, and I've taken a couple of pictures so that you could see it close up. It is a fun shaker card. I appreciate you watching. If you would, hit that like button, and if you haven't subscribed, I'd love to have you subscribe. Thanks for watching.